Hi, I'm Jeff. This is Tropical Plants at 53 degrees north. Would you believe? I mean, I can hardly believe it myself, but, well, yeah, we're looking at a lovely Miltoniopsis orchid. Oh, hello, Fudge. Let's have a quick look at him. Hello. Hello, little doggy. See, people want to say hello to you. Hello. How are you? What have you been up to? You shouldn't be in here, should you? Just be good. Right, so yeah, Miltoniopsis orchid. This is Miltoniopsis Junit. All looking really nice. And it started off yellow, changing colour. But this one, back here, let's get it out. So this is Miltoniopsis Newton Falls. It's looking like it's about to give up. I can't believe it. I've kept this for a couple of years now. Got it through a couple of winters. It bloomed absolutely fantastic for me this year. I got it through the worst of the weather. Yes, I kept it at 18 degrees. Yes, I've got some grow lights on it, but the grow lights are quite a way away, so it's not really anywhere near as bright as it would get in the sunshine. Bye-bye, Fudge. He's gone. Just hope he doesn't get up to anything in the other side of the greenhouse because I can't see him. But, and I know these old pseudo bulbs do lose the leaves, but this one has we've lost everything on 1, 2, 3, 4 pseudo bulbs have just suddenly all dropped the leaves, and I'm left with a tiny one there, the last one that bloomed, no new growth at all at the moment. Is this a sign that it's failing again? Now, I can see that most of you watching this are probably thinking, oh, that pot's way too big, but it had that many roots. It really did have a lot of roots. So what I'm going to do here, I've got a new theory, and I want to try and intervene on this one before it really does anything. It may be that it's going to die. It may be that this is just its natural life cycle, and I'm going to get some new growth at some point very quickly in the future. Oh well, nothing happens quickly with orchids, does it? But at some point in the future. But I'm now thinking whether these roots need a little bit more air around them. I've done my best. I've got some moss in there, and I've got some bark, some large bark, nothing else. Maybe a little bit of perlite, but you can see I've got lots and lots of air holes, but I'm still wondering whether that still isn't enough air around those roots. So I'm going to try something else. I'm going to get this out of its pot, we're going to have a look at the roots, and I'm going to try a different media, and we'll talk about that as we get it done. So let's get cracking on that. Okay, so let's have a look at what's going on. Now, I really should get a tripod. Would you believe I've been doing YouTube now for just over a year? Let me see, about 16 months actually, and I still don't have like a decent sized tripod. It's on a tripod now, but it's like literally about, I don't know, 20 centimeters tall. It's not enough, is it? I'll be able to do more to camera, then you'll be able to see my lovely face. So this was bought, actually not as old as I thought. So this was Miltoniopsis Newton Falls, and it was bought exactly a year ago, so the 8th of April 2020. Repotted it 27th of June 2020, and I took it through the rest of that year, all through winter. Bloomed wonderfully. It did have a bloom spike on when it came, so I coaxed it into getting some more bloom spikes. I think I had about 4 in the end, and one that I destroyed by accident. It's just whether it's just given its all and it's ready for a rest, I don't know, but I want to try and intervene before anything happens. So let's get it out of this pot and have a look what's going on. It is a large pot, and it's about the kind of moisture that I would expect. And you can see all these roots here. I don't know whether they're going to be live roots or dead roots. We'll see with a little bit more investigation. So feeling them, squishing them. A lot of these are quite squishy, and some of them are not. The real key is whether there is anything new, and that's something that I'm going to have to really dig in there and see if I can find anything new. I don't think there are any growths. I'm going to struggle to do that on camera, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a clean up and then have a real close look at it. Maybe take this old pseudo bulb off, take all this old stuff off, and then see if I can actually point out anything new to you. Or I may be saying to you, Fudge, shut up. I may be saying to you, no, that's it, they're all dead and I need to cut them all off. So I will return forthwith. And we're back. Okay, so I've given it a clean up and it looks better already, just getting rid of a lot of that rubbish that was like the old sheaths that was around the pseudobulbs. I took one of the pseudobulbs off because it was rotted. So good news and bad news. So the bad news is that a lot of these roots are dead, but not anything like as much as you can see. You can see a lot of the filaments, obviously they're the dead ends, but as you reach further up and you feel them, a lot of these are actually still quite solid. But what I'm looking for in particular are new roots going down into that media, and that would tell me that that's the kind of media that it likes, and there aren't. What we have got here are some new roots up here. So these are the new solid roots with the green tips, so we know it's producing them, but why have these not started to go down into the media? Well, I think that tells me that there's something wrong with that media. And can you see just about there, that's a little tiny new growth. So it's nothing fantastic. I don't think that's going to grow into a pseudobulb in the next 12 months, but at least it's something, and it's showing me that it's not completely a dead loss. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it into, I'll just grab over here, a smaller pot, loads of air holes in it, and a cone at the bottom, and I'm also then going to put it into this. So this is coconut husk. It's been washed. So why am I going to use coconut husk? Well, from what I've seen and what I've heard about coconut husk, first of all, obviously it's nice and sustainable, which is always a good thing, but from my experiences using it with Oncidium Twinkles, I've found, and again, this was recommended to me by 1 or 2 subscribers, and it does seem to have worked. I'll have to do an update on that actually. So I used it with Oncidium Twinkle Cinnamon, and that had no roots whatsoever, and I planted it in this, and what's happened is it's begun to give me some growth and some new roots in the matter of about 4 to 6 weeks. And it really did look at a state, that one. And I'm wondering whether the properties of this make it particularly good for this kind of orchid. So if they want air to get to their roots, like a lot of dendrobiums do, then they need gaps between. And you find that when you use the kind of bark that I'm using, it's just not chunky enough. The bark retains a certain amount of water, but it doesn't have lots of air between it. Just because the bark I'm using is like a medium grade bark, but it does have a lot of small pieces in it as well, and it kind of clumps together. Whereas I found that when using this, because they're all different sizes, it gives you loads and loads of air gaps. And the properties of it are that it stays wet for quite a long time, it stays moist for quite a long time, but it still somehow retains that air around it, as I say, probably because of the size of it and the fibrous nature of it. So I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to plant it in this. I'm not actually going to put any moss in it whatsoever. I think this may, hopefully anyway, give it that air that it needs. The only way to tell is to try it, isn't it? Give it a little bit of an experimentation. I'm always a little bit dubious about talking about media because obviously it's very, very dependent on where you're growing. You know, what's good for somebody growing in somewhere like California or somewhere like Florida or, you know, anywhere in the world is going to be completely different to me in the north of the UK. And I might even have a neighbour who has a greenhouse, and their conditions might be different because they might have a greenhouse that has a different amount of sun, different amounts of humidity, different shading, and so on and so forth. So it is very dependent on your own conditions. It's always worth pointing that out. I just kind of take it for granted that people know that's where I'm coming from. This is very much my own journey in my own greenhouse. So I'm going to give it a go. The media that I had it in before was like a medium grade bark with perlite and sphagnum moss. Even though it's been okay for 12 months, you can see by the roots here that it really isn't sending those new roots down into the media. So there's something not quite right. Even though I'm managing to maintain a certain amount of moisture, I don't think I'm maintaining enough air around those roots. So let's give something else a try. And I can give it a quick look at any point, can't I, and see what's going on with it. So I'm going to pot this up now, and then we'll have a little chat just before I finish. Okay, so there we have it. Now I've tried to do it quite loosely My own instinct, having been a gardener of temperate plants for the past 30 years, is that I want to like really stuff it down and really firm it in, and I don't think that's what they want. Obviously, you've got the problem of if it is really loose, then it's going to fall out of the pot. So I've left one of the spikes on, one of the old dead spikes, to try and keep it in position, because as we know, orchids do not like to move around, and they don't generally produce new roots for you if they are wobbling around there. We need them to be nice and firm. So there's probably actually less space than I was hoping for, but there is space in between there. I'll give it to water, and I usually find, as I found with the Oncidium Twinkle, that it lasts quite a long time looking quite moist, which is also good because it saves me watering too much. I'm just looking there at the bottom of that particular pseudo bulb. It looks like there's a bit of rot setting into there, and that's one of my good ones too. Maybe it's just a leaf with a bit of luck. Anyway, we'll see. So I know there's a new bit of growth. I know there's a couple of new roots on there. So it's just a case of watch, wait, and hope that I don't lose my beautiful Miltoniopsis Newton Falls. Otherwise, that's another one on the compost heap. But, you know, as people generally say, a lot of these YouTubers only show their successes. Well, yeah, I might show them, but I also show my failures as well. I'm hoping this doesn't turn into one of them. So, if you got any value whatsoever, or if you found this video in the least bit interesting, please give me a thumbs up, because they really, really help to support the channel. I know it's difficult. In fact, it's probably impossible if you're watching on a TV, but if you can zoom over to your phone or your mobile device and just give me a quick thumbs up, it really, really helps more than you can possibly imagine. And any advice for me or anything that you want to say about what we've done here today, put it in the comments as usual. I always answer everybody, and it's great to know that somebody's actually watching and we're not just whistling into the wind. So that's it for now, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.